Welcome to the Boss Battle Show.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to another episode of the Boss Battle Show, where you can get micro machines. Because I sounded fast.
Yes, you did.
I am the one and only Adam Ronan.
The one and only.
Except for that guy on Twitter who
that guy
has the Adam Ronan
white hot
and
rage.
He says, this is the official Adam Ronan. I'm like, no, motherfucker, it's not. You don't have a just red hot successful YouTube channel that can't get over 9,000 subs, because then as soon as we hit that point, then like 30 drop off.
Yeah.
Every time. It's very
It's a conspiracy.
disenchanted.
Pyramids.
And this is the one and only Boss Battle Gordy, also known as Gore, also known as Gorehor, Gorgatron, Gorgeous, Gore Verbinski, anything that rhymes with Gore.
Gorgematic 5000 Tron.
5000 Tron. Are you looking at these notes?
Yeah, kind of. They're in front of me.
That's good. We have a show for you today, ladies and gentlemen. Holy snot buckets. Today. So first, let's just dig in. Let's just kind of let's just open up the flow of conversation. And what have you been playing lately?
Not a damn thing.
That's not true.
It's not true.
That's not true. As per the notes.
Oh, yeah. That's true.
Because I know what you've been playing, and I knew you would say nothing.
No, I have been playing a little bit of something. Mario Tennis. Switch.
We got down on the Mario 10.
Yeah.
What do you think of it?
It's like, it's really fun at first, and then you start to realize, oh, there's some depth to this, and then it's really fun.
Super cash. Super cash, but also super deep for those that want to be anti-cash. I think it's really fun. I actually had a lot of fun. We got on the couch. We played the game with our Switch controllers. Yeah. The Switch right now is back alive for me. Like, I'm excited about the Switch again.
Back alive. What did it for you?
I'm not you. Really,
yeah.
Honestly, because you were like, let's turn on the Switch. I don't remember why. And I was like, okay. And then I was just like, oh, yeah, this is good. And so I went and bought the Mario Tennis, and I bought Crash Bandicoot. So then I played Crash Bandicoot while I was in bed the other night, and I was like, yeah, this is a fucking dope-ass system. Yeah. Minus all Nintendo's misgivings with how they want to do online and how they're like, hey, you want Virtual Console? Go fuck yourself. So those types of things aside, I'm enjoying playing the Switch again. Yeah. So... and then, of course, we'll talk about things that are coming out next week, or this week, as that are coming out on the Switch that I'm debating on if I'm excited about. But we'll get to those at the end of the episode.
Excellent.
So the Week in Geek. What is happening this week in geeking in gaming industry news and gaming news? Well, nothing. There's nothing happening. It's a very slow news week. We're at that time in gaming where it's summertime. Gaming, this is time for films and movies and blockbusters. Gaming has its heyday in like November, December, through February, March.
Dry spell.
We're in a dry spell. There were some things I read through that I was like, we could talk about that. We could talk about Jade Raymond going off and doing the new games and stuff. But it wasn't really enough where I was like, that doesn't merit excitement from me. So there's nothing that we're going to talk about. So instead, we're going to bring you, this is going to be a discussional topic, as we like to try to do. We throw in one thing per episode that's very heaven.
Oh,
Jesus died for your sins. No, this is very discussional based. It's a topic that we're passionate about, and so we're gonna. This is we have a lot to talk about. So we're gonna actually break this up into 2 episodes. But so this part 1 will be right now, and then part 2 will be next week's. So the topic that we're gonna dig into, we're not even gonna F about. We're just gonna get right into the nitty-gritty.
The nitty-gritty.
The nitty-gritty.
Yep.
Hello, I'm Walter Nitty-gritty.
Nitty.
Augmented reality, virtual reality, gimmick, or here to stay. So we are now entering the age of digital gaming. Kind of last week we talked about streaming that's coming in the future. Virtual reality has had its feet on the ground for a few years now with a couple of things. So we're going to talk about that coupled with augmented reality that we'll get into in part 2 of the this discussion, and what these things need to do to survive the coming years and to really take hold. Because right now people see VR, at least, is a bit of a gimmicky thing. When Xbox announced the Scorpio a couple years ago, they were like, it's going to be, capable of virtual reality, and we were excited about it. We love virtual reality, and then they announced this year officially that they're like, nah, it's stupid. We're not going to do virtual reality. And surprisingly, like on a bunch of forums and on Reddit and stuff, everyone was like, good, it's a fucking gimmick. I don't care about virtual reality. And I was like, but I do.
Yeah.
So let's just dig in. Some of you may not particularly know a whole lot. You may not play in the virtual reality sphere. Maybe you don't dabble in the PSVR. Maybe you don't have a computer that can run the Rift or the Vive. So maybe you don't know a lot about it. So let's start with the platform you're already well in the know of with virtual reality and kind of dig into it. A little bit of history for those of you that like to know where things come from. Virtual reality's initial concept dates all the way back to the 1950s, where a man named Morton Hellig wrote of an experience theater that could encompass all the senses in an effective manner, thus drawing the viewer onto the on-screen activity. He built a prototype of this vision, dubbed the Sensorama, in 1962.
Ooh.
So it's been around
Ahead
for
of
the
his
concept's
time.
been around for a long time. Obviously, the computing power wasn't there back then, but it's cool. People have been messing with this notion for some time. Of course, early 90s, we had like Lawnmower Man and shit, and people were like,
Oh, yeah.
remember Lawnmower Man?
Yeah, I
That's
do.
the pinnacle of CG.
Yeah, top level.
Top man. Anyway, so we kind of go through the ages here. Virtual Boy was then created and announced by Nintendo and was released in Japan on July 21st, 1995, and in North America a couple months later on August 15th, 1995. Virtual Boy came out. I never had it. I never played it. The first time I played it actually was a couple of years ago at that stupid VidCon we went to.
Poor VidCon.
Yeah. So it's subsequently died a quick bloody death. It wasn't the right time for the medium. It wasn't cool.
It wasn't very good.
Now, let's float here for a minute. 1995, we were a budding age of like 13, 14 years old.
Mere infants.
Did you know anybody that had the Virtual Boy?
No one had the Virtual Boy. The Virtual Boy was virtual.
It was so dumb.
Maybe Tommy, but he didn't live here anymore. The kid, that kid down your street that owns all of the video games and consoles.
He had the first.
That was the guy.
Turtles, but he wasn't still in the neighborhood then, was he?
No, I don't think so.
He went off and he was like fucking chicks and shit then. He was
Maybe.
like, hey, you and your toys. I have flesh toys.
Could be.
So I didn't know anybody that had the. So Virtual Boy died without us ever even getting a glimpse of it, but the dream was still there. And that dream came to fruition in 2010 when Palmer Luckey designed the first prototype for the Oculus Rift. And then he started the Kickstarter for it. It was, I think, I don't have the numbers here in front of me, but the Kickstarter for the Oculus Rift was quite extensive, huge numbers. Huge enough numbers that in March 25th, 2014, VR entered the phase in the major leagues because it had garnered the attention from Big Brother Facebook. And Facebook purchased the Oculus VR for $2 billion.
$2 billion.
That's
a steal.
It's, just a mere pittance, right?
Yeah. He's Mark Zuckerberg's now the third richest person.
Is he really?
Period. He's richer than Warren Buffett. Yeah.
Oh, I was like, you said Warren Buffett?
And you heard Warren Beatty or something like that?
I heard Warren Beatty, and then I heard Warren Beatty, but I pictured Jimmy Buffett. So I had fucking Warren Beatty in a fucking, what's that place with the volcanoes and the leaves?
Hawaii.
And fucking cheeseburgers and shit.
Yeah.
I didn't know that. I didn't know that he was the third richest. He's also not a human being, though. He's a lizard.
He is a lizard. Like, literally, like his skin is translucent.
It's translucent. He's got that fucking stare.
Look. Sometimes his tongue comes out like...
Yeah. No, he's a piece of shit for sure. Anywho, Palmer Luckey and Zuckerberg teamed up. The purchase occurred right after the first dev kits were ordered through the Kickstarter that actually started in 2012. And this shit shipped in the first dev kit shipped in mid 2013, and before shipping their second developed kits in mid 2014. All in these same months, though. However, Sony announced what was to be called at that time at E3 Project Morpheus, which ended up being PlayStation VR. And from there, of course, the rest is history. Now, at 2018, we have three things sitting in them in the industry: flatulence, mouth flatulence. No, we have PlayStation VR, which is the most affordable we can get with VR.
It's the affordable
then you have
option.
the Oculus Rift, which is now also super affordable. I was at Best Buy the other day, and they have the full Oculus Rift kits with the little controller things for like $399, I think.
Oh, wow.
And I was like, I can afford
Much
that.
more accessible.
I just don't have the PC for it just yet. I mean, I do, but it's not quite.
That's not its purpose.
No, it's not. And then you have the HTC Vive, which I think of the three is, if you like want the best in VR, that's the one to get. It's excellent tracking with the full room tracking, but has the cost associated with it.
Yes.
So now those are in the market, and they have their mainstays. It's kind of an interesting place for the genre of gaming to be at. It has its fan base. People are very dedicated to virtual reality. I personally am a huge supporter of the medium. Let's talk about our personal experiences with it, going all the way back to the Google Cardboard.
Which I think poisoned the well personally, but...
Tell me, well, I want to talk about that.
Yeah.
But when Google Cardboard came out with it to coincide kind of with the launch, I mean, it came out before this, but the big push was with The Force Awakens. They had that thing with Verizon where you can go into the Verizon store.
They gave out like hundreds of thousands.
Yeah. So that was, we got those, and that was our first like nibble into virtual reality. Even though it's not real VR, it's just 360 headspace. There's no trackment. You can't like get in there and look at shit.
No tracking, no 3D.
No tracking, no 3D, but it's 360 degrees. My fucking brain blew.
Yeah.
And we like had this stint where we like just salivated over VR. Like we
got into it.
We got into it. Like we bought the other units that worked with your phones. We were fucking with those the Viewmaster. It was like we were there just salivating, waiting for the moment where we could dig into real VR. Then, I can't remember what the time frame was, but we were able to finally go to Best Buy to try the PlayStation VR, which was unlike. This is my first experience with VR. I had never tried the Rift before or anything like that. So this was my first taste of headspace, stuff like that.
Yeah. He was moving his head around the mic, by the way.
Yes. If you're listening to this,
Yes.
I'm bobbing around like a goddamn Dilophosaurus, you know. So then when me and Timmy were there playing, it was like, holy fuck.
Yeah.
This is the shit. I couldn't have been more excited. And we were there early, like we went through like multiple times. What were your let's run through your feelings on VR at that point in your life.
Mine was blown. I mean, I had like a mix, so I have a different experience than you. Because I did experience...
Because your body sucks?
Yeah, my body sucks. My eyes in particular in this instance. I found the resolution to be not good enough for me. And some of the movement.
Yeah.
But regardless, like it was mind-blowing.
It was mind-blowing. Then the PlayStation VR came out. And, of course, I had it day one. And we spent hours on hours with it.
Yeah.
Batman VR, fucking other games. The kitchen.
Batman really stands out, but that one where you're in Great Britain and you're a gangster, that was fun too.
The London heist.
Yeah.
The shark thing.
All the demos.
The demos were really cool. But the problem is gaming for PSVR, they've been a lot of good technical showcases, but nothing that was like a killer app. So while the PSVR is not dead per se, I almost feel like it's inching towards death because I was expecting a bigger push for VR from Sony this year at E3, with barely any mentions. There were some things that are coming out, but it was not even spoke about at their main conference.
Yeah.
Which is kind of scary.
Despite the list of games that came out, because there's actually like a list of like 15 games.
And there's a lot of content out
Full
for the
games.
PlayStation VR. Currently, neither of us have the Vive or the Rift still, though I did try the Rift. I'm sorry. I tried the Rift at that bald guy at Best Buy.
Rift and Oculus.
I was like, hey, this is cool. The resolution's much higher. The tracking's a whole lot better. This is sick.
Headset's more comfortable.
Yeah, I have not had a chance to try the Vive yet, but I heard that's an even bigger jump in quality. So it's got its places. The VR for the PlayStation is indeed, of course, much lower resolution. You got sick a lot, especially when we were playing rigs. Like, that fucked with you.
Yeah, so moving forward while strafing or looking sideways. So if my head is looking to the side, but I'm moving forward, oh man, that messed with me. That three-dimensional control mixed with the speed. Racing, not so much. So there's certain games I can do, and there is a time limit on most of them. I didn't find that with platformers, 3D platformers, where you're looking. That was so cool. No sick at all from those.
No sick.
No sick.
No sick.
Yeah.
Do you like I do the cha-cha? Now, you haven't really played VR much more since then.
A few times. I played Super Hot, which was a super hot experience.
Super hot.
I loved
One of my
it.
favorite things to do on PlayStation VR in its current form. Job Simulator was really fun.
Simulator,
of course, that
very fun.
First started out on Rift and stuff. I obviously probably a much better experience tracking. Fruit Ninja on the PlayStation VR has the absolute best tracking so far. That was unreal. Did you play Fruit Ninja?
No, never played it. Not once.
I know what we're gonna do later. Oh fuck! You never played Fruit Ninja, dog?
Nope.
In the VRs?
So is the tracking good?
It's impeccable.
Okay.
It's impeccable. It's like you're standing there, you have two samurai swords, and fruit just gets shot at you. And you have to fucking
slice
Fruit
it.
Ninja it.
Ah.
But you're like, oh, dude, it's so incredible. It's immaculate. The tracking, it's like you can fucking hit fruit and like catch it in your swords and like balance the fruit on your thing and then throw it up and like stab it with the other sword. It's unreal. In fact, it's a must play. I'm
very excited to try this.
A year and a half now, and I've just now tried to convince you to play it.
Oh wow!
So that was an experience. The Super Hot was incredible, and then I was like super down with Farpoint. But you recall what happened?
Yes, spiders.
Fucking took
Spiders
me forever
happened.
to find a Farpoint bundle, and I finally found it, and I was like, now's my time. And then we got it, and Gordy was watching me play it while I'm playing it, standing up with the gun. It was really cool. But Jesus Christ, I don't think I've ever been more frightened in a game because these little like weird Mars spiders would like jump out at you, and it was like a fucking spider literally jumping into my face.
Yeah, yeah.
It was very upsetting.
It was a jump scare extravaganza.
It was very upsetting. I haven't played it since that night.
Oh wow.
And then I got Doom VFR that I played for a little bit because you could use the gun, and that was pretty cool too, though not as cool as I was hoping. I've been thinking about getting Skyrim on it just to try it, but I've been playing VR casually throughout the last year and a half, 2 years since it launched or whatever. I was super into it when it first came out, and now it's like it's interesting because I have this amazing piece of technology that sits on my desk, and I'm looking at it and I'm like, oh fucking yeah, I should play some VR.
Yeah.
And then I'm like, I'm not gonna. It's I don't know, there's something about like the setup. I'm like, I gotta do all this and get all this on and do all this and turn this on and make sure everything's linked up right. Fucking clean the lenses. It's just like a whole setup. I'm like, I'm just gonna fucking play something else.
Battletoads or something.
I wish.
Yeah.
I wish I'll play
Soon.
Battletoads. Yes, very well, hopefully. So I think because of those notions, VR is starting to lose its grip.
Public grip.
Yeah. Now,
mainstream.
you have some significant thoughts on what VR would need to do to succeed. So let's spend the next little while looking at the future of what VR has to do to become a mainstay, not in just gaming, but in the technological world as it is, but also if it's going to continue in gaming, what would it need to be able to latch on to consumers that other than it just being a dumb gimmick?
What is the killer app and the benchmark requirements?
Yes. So what do you got here, Gordy?
Okay, so I'm just going to read this off.
Yep.
VR makers are engaged in a war to meet the minimum tech specs to start the revolution. Sony, Microsoft, Magic Leap, Apple, and the Vive. Gaming will only flourish when VR is common. So here's some of the requirements that I've seen. And I didn't pull these out of my butt. These are requirements that
you did some research.
Industry giants are saying, like behind the scenes, like people at Oculus and stuff. Retina level biological perfect visual fidelity. So the Retina screen, when the pixels are packed so much that your eyes don't see the pixels anymore. So they need that kind of level of fidelity in the headset.
Let's hang out there for a second. What would be biologically perfect visual fidelity?
In the headset, I remember seeing something like that, and they were talking about like just being surrounded by 4K monitors. I cannot remember the specs. It was kind of boring science stuff that I didn't get.
Yeah.
But it's a lot. We're not there.
But it's not resolutions that don't exist?
No, it's not resolutions that don't exist.
So they're there. It's just a matter of getting them into the thing. Okay.
So we got that. The right headset design. We need a cheap headset that's easy to do everything with, that's easy to stash, and that is not fragile. If the sunlight leaks in through one of your blinds and hits the PSVR wrong, it's trash.
Yeah, it burns the lens. It's a common problem.
Mobility. So we're talking tracking less wires.
That's the thing. I think one of the things, like I just mentioned just a second ago, with the set, when I'm like, oh, there's my PSVR, I should pick it up and play it. But I'm like, the setup. If it was just a thing that I just grabbed, imagine this. If you're watching, these are my glasses.
Yeah.
If you're listening, these are my glasses. I pick them up and I'm like, shook, and I'm ready to play.
Boom.
That
done.
would be. It's essential.
That's what they need.
We have a buddy who was working at HP, and they were working on. They had some wireless computer vests that they could wear because he was doing some testing on some virtual reality. So they combined with the Vive. You then had the vest that had housed the compute unit that powered the Vive. But that's still a giant bulky thing that's on you.
And there are problems with wireless. Currently in the room, it just extends and expands any type of delay that you experience within the game, but not much, thankfully.
Yeah.
So we have light bending tech that fools the eyes with less eye fatigue. So like goes along with the first one, they need to figure out how to create less eye fatigue. Magic Leap talked about that in a few videos. I don't know anything about it, but that would be nice. It goes with the Retina display. So higher transfer rates, ensuring two people interacting is so fast, it's imperceptible. So I have notes somewhere, but it's basically 100 milliseconds.
So you're talking in terms of like a social space.
A social space. So if I'm here and I'm like, we're dancing at a dance club and I'm like, hey, buddy, and my hands are moving and you can hear my voice, my lips and my movements have to sync up for that experience not to be jarring.
So we're kind of talking in the Ready Player One space.
Yeah.
Obviously, Ready Player One, if anyone knows me, hands down is my favorite novel of all time. It's not well written, but it just speaks to me. As
it's so much fun.
With it's fun. It's got just packed with 80s nostalgia and so much more. And it made me excited for what VR could be. The problem is in the novel when James Halliday and the other guy announced the gregarious games, the Oasis.
Yeah.
It like changes the world. Everyone's like, oh my God, this is the thing.
Yeah.
And here we are with 3 different platforms that have been out for years now, and people are just like, eh.
Well, I'll tell you what. In order to get to there,
Gordy, tell me.
I think that all of those benchmarks to get VR going, including superior feedback with the hands. For gestures within the 3D space. And then we need the killer app, the first big virtual world. And there's lots of people working on that.
Like the quote unquote Flatulence.
Flatulence,
Quote unquote oasis.
Like the Oasis.
Tell me more.
So we have some industry giants. Let's see. VR, or virtual world, the true potential of VR, virtual worlds and economies. Who's working on it? Well, we know Facebook is working on it, which is akin to, what's his name? The bad guy? Sorrento owning and creating the Oasis.
Yeah, okay.
But we have Facebook, High Fidelity, who did Second Life. They're psychotic, serious about it.
Tell me.
Yeah, they so them, Stirumba, One Game, and countless other startups and huge companies are working behind the scenes.
Side note, I was dating this girl back in 2016. We'll call her Sarah.
Okay. Yeah.
And she was obsessed with Second Life.
Yeah.
She would tell me all about it, and I was always like, oh, okay.
Well, imagine this. Having a mix of The Sims, Second Life, and the Oasis, like a virtual space like that. A virtual space for social interactions where gaming and virtual life meet. That's mass appeal. That's where it takes off. A lot of people are addicted to that game, including Sarah.
Quote unquote.
And
can you tell me, so High Fidelity, they're the ones that do Second Life?
yeah.
This is confirmed they're developing something? Or is it just like rumors?
No, it's confirmed. They talk about it. There's some tech videos. They don't show tech. They talk about the challenges of the tech. And actually, 2 of these benchmarks come from them. They are convinced that the visual fidelity is a barrier to acceptance. So that's pretty fascinating.
Have they talked about what platform they're in their developments for, or is it going to be something that all VR is accessible for, like Rift, Vive, PSVR, or is it they
do their demos on Vive. Their demos are on Vive. I don't know if it's exclusive to Vive. One of these companies is going to have to come out ahead of the others with that visual fidelity. I feel like it might be Apple.
Really?
I would like for it to be Apple, but they make quality.
But you know that it's and of course we'll get into this in the part 2 of the video when we really dig into AR. But Apple is
going to be huge when they come in.
And Tim Cook has gone on record saying, I don't care much for VR. I'm more for AR. So I don't think you'll see Apple into the VR space.
So here's I would like to see Apple, but you're right. You're probably right, because Tim Cook practically has AR tattooed on his head. He's super enthusiastic about it. But Mark Zuckerberg, Oculus, he said, we want 1 billion people in virtual reality. When VWs, or virtual worlds, become commonplace, there could be a VR gaming renaissance, and more than that, a lot of things could happen. My vision of it, and based on the vision of some of these super powerful companies and the people in charge of these departments, is pretty crazy. So these places, they have their own economies. They're an interactive world. Imagine this. Let me paint a picture for you.
I want you to. I need you to paint pictures.
Okay, so you sign into the virtual space after work, or you're on a business trip and you're in your hotel or whatever, and you have a business meeting, a board meeting. So you go there, blockchain is probably how they're going to, it's like a ledger it's like a...
Now, before you start getting crazy,
I'm not going to get into the blockchain, but...
I was going to say, I think, because a lot of people don't know what blockchain is.
Yeah, no. It's a ledger, basically. It keeps, so just imagine it keeps your information safe because it's encrypted well.
Okay.
So you're going to have that, your identity and your money and your assets backed up. And so you go to the meeting, you choose to, like Google, you remember Google Circles? You can choose how much anonymity. I don't walk around with my name, my address, and my phone number on my badge.
Right.
So you get to choose how much info you share with people. You go to your meeting, you're all there, but you're in different places in the world. Then you leave the meeting and you're like, oh crap, my friend sent me a message. You go to a virtual pizza arcade that's 80 styles and play some arcade games with them. And then your alarm goes off and it's like, oh crap, I have a class, some kind of class at an online college. but it's really hot in your room. So you pull out your tablet, any style you want. This is a virtual world, and you turn on your fan, or you say, yo, turn on the fan in the bedroom. And then you order some food, and then you get back into the game. All within this world, you can go to public spaces when you meet people, share credentials, be like, hey, you go to a virtual Halo tournament, and you're like, hey, let's play. You meet this guy, you share your gaming credentials, you go play Halo CE VR or something like that. So this is the vision that people like that made Second Life, and Facebook, I think, has a vision. Apps that do really well in Vive is homes and offices that are virtual. So being able to buy assets for your home, like a special edition pop that you can put on your work desk within your virtual environment, where you do your art.
Right. See,
it's all there.
That's all very exciting to me.
Yeah.
And it's just weird to me that the world isn't also excited by that. I'm not quite sure where that falls short for people. But I love it. I think the idea of virtual reality going forward in that capacity could be cool. But do we run the risk of VR dying before we get to that point?
I think that the proper visionaries are involved, like Mark Zuckerberg, the third richest man in the world, wants this kind of thing. There's a lot of we can gain video game, a lot for video games, a lot for social experiences. There are some downsides. It's going to interrupt things like, you'll go to a virtual Best Buy instead of a physical one and things like that.
I think,
but it could be good.
I think one of the things that has to evolve technically for it to latch on for Joe Blow Schmogo is the size of the units and
absolutely
the ease of transportation of the units. So like you're saying, the guy on his business trip in his room doesn't want to have like this giant computer that hooks up with this and then that's just never going to happen. It has to be a small, compact device that you would just slip on and it just goes. The compute system built into the device, things like that. I think those are what has to happen to be able to reach these points.
I agree, and I think that we'll see these devices relying less on computers that are present, and we'll have more servers. There were, a billion people. That's a lot of servers, but local servers that a cloud that you connect to that does the processing for your unit. So it's just a wireless unit that hooks up to a local cloud.
Your wireless unit.
Yeah, I think that would be kind of the way to go.
Okay, I respect that. I'm into it. Now, when we talk about those types of things, it's also, and we'll get into this in part 2, but like Magic Leap, when we get into the AR, the goggles they've revealed.
They do nothing.
The goggles, Maria. The goggles they revealed for the Magic Leap are just ridiculous looking.
Yeah,
they're just. I saw those and I was like, really? That's what.
I thought that those weren't real.
No, those are the real.
Oh my God.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. So I'm already fearful, and we'll get into that again in part 2, that when AR finally hits the point where we've got goggles, it's going to be the fucking Google Glass all over again. People are going to be like, I'm not wearing that.
Yeah.
It's so fucking stupid.
Yeah.
Because you look like you look like the somebody. You look like a
Lawnmower Man? Well, no, he looked better.
You look so stupid. You look like a superhero with the thing. You've seen them. You know what I'm
Show me again.
I'm going to. Show me.
So you think that visual presentation is a big part?
Yeah, because
I watched a TED Talk where they were kind of actually touched base on that and said people in VR and AR look ridiculous, but they think that it'll latch on much like, oh my God. They think that it'll be like having your earpiece for Bluetooth phone calls. I think that people just get used to it.
Yeah, sure. But let's say you want to appeal to the mass.
Yeah.
This includes children. This includes women. This includes businessmen. This includes teenage girls. What fucking 17-year-old girl is going to walk around the mall with this on her face? The mall. I say that as if malls are a thing anymore. What teenage girl is going to walk around the fucking Tinder hotspot looking for dick that wearing one of these? You know, it's like People aren't going to get into that type of stuff until it's visually pleasing. We're a vain species.
Yeah, it's going to have to be more visually pleasing. Getting smaller than that in the next 10 years will be hard. I don't think they will. But yeah, it's pretty derpy. Not going to lie.
No, you can't lie. Don't lie to me, Gordy.
VR, the future.
Or not. So let's open this up to you guys. So we're touching on VR there. We're going to start winding down the episode. I like to keep the episodes around 30, 40 minutes here, shorter, so you can consume them rather than just skipping over a 2-hour thing. So what do you think that VR has to do for the future, for consumers to latch on, for it to become a mainstream thing with gaming, with anything technologically, with the world? What do you think it has to do? Before we wind down, let's give out a shout out to some of our lovely and loyal patrons on our Patreon. If you are interested in helping R24 or any of the channels on the Road on 24 YouTube network grow, and you're in a position to do so, you can head to patreon.com/R24. But a quick shout out to our good buddy, Creepy Buddy, Diabeto63, Muffled Scream, Wrong Channel Joe, David Lou Horvath, Liv Savage, Eli Smith, Mike Youngplay, all these wonderful people take time out of their month and their wallets to help us become a bigger and better channel. So thank you to you guys, to your loyal patrons. And if you're watching this on YouTube on R24 and you're brand new to the channel, perhaps consider subscribing and clicking that bell so you're part of the notification squad that everyone says.
Yeah.
If you are more of an audio listener, you can get this podcast everywhere. We're fucking lurking in the shadows. You can get us on Apple Podcasts. You can get us on Anchor. You can get us on Pocket Casts, on Android, anything, Stitcher, whatever you like. Listen to us there.
Spotify.
And Spotify. Yeah, we just found that out today. We were like, oh, shit, we're on Spotify.
Yeah.
All the podcasts are on Spotify. And I know you got Spotify. I know.
Yeah, I mean, yeah.
There's two things. There's Spotify and there's Apple Music. If you've got Spotify, we're on Spotify. If you're like, no, fuck Spotify, I consume via Apple Music. Well, that's fine. Open up your Apple Podcast app because we're right there. We're right there. Gordy?
Yeah.
Say something like the Lawnmower Man would say.
Wait, I'm trying to look out. Here I come.
Is he Cajun? He sounds like...
he's Gambit.
He's like, yeah, that's what I was going to say.
The name's Gambit.
Monsieur. Hey, Rogue.
How do you do...
Rogue, I'm looking to get touched and die.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, that's not a very good one. Sorry.
I'm not funny.